The things that attract us to an avoidant, all the sexy, wonderful things they can do that we can't. They're really good at taking a thought that would be a block for us, and they can go around it and get on with their day and be productive. And when we're up and down emotionally, they're able to just suppress that and be steady and just power on through. We don't know how to do that. We find that really attractive, along with all the other things, the normal attraction things like physical and sense of humor and intellect. The things, though, that we don't like about them, we kind of dismiss them at the beginning because we're so engaged with the fact that they see us and it was wonderful and it was like so intense that all the things that we don't like, we're quite happy at the beginning in that honeymoon period just to say it's all right. We'll work on those later. The problem is, though, is that we need to really test that relationship at the beginning. If an avoidant or anyone else, whether they're an avoidant or not, isn't able to meet our need from the beginning, and we don't call them out on something that we feel is against our values, then don't get upset at them down the track when it's a little too late to call them out on it. You've created that dynamic of silence, of dismissing your own need. And then later down the track, you're calling them out on something that they haven't ever been aware of, or you're presuming they should just inherently know somehow without that communication, that expectation being expressed. Shouldn't everyone have the same values? No, no, people have different sets of values. At the beginning of the relationship, the way you know if the relationship is going to last the distance with an avoidant or not, but especially with an avoidant, is when they're doing things that are against your values, you deal with it. See what their kind of response is like. Because an avoidant, if they are progressive and have a growth mindset and they value the relationship, will reach over top of their emotion to meet that need. They might not be very good at it, but they'll try and you can see the needle moving. And that's enough. You can have patience for a person you're falling in love for as long as they're growing and they're making the effort. But at the very beginning, if you don't call it out, you don't know. Maybe they don't have that intention to grow and change to meet the relationship where you are. The only way you're going to know is by holding the boundaries and going forward. Now, waiting until it's much too late, and you see online so much animosity and anger against avoidance. And the problem is, though, is that those boundaries weren't held at the start of the relationship. There was a presumption, a belief, a hope that things would change if I was graceful enough to allow these things for a while. Eventually, they would recognize the need and they would change. That's not how it works. You get angry at an avoidant down the track for not knowing what you haven't said what you need from the very beginning. That's on you. Let's just start our relationships on the right foot and be prepared, whether we feel insecure or not, to identify what's important to us and communicate it to our partners before it gets too late.